Ladies and gentlemen, we're in the Cardinal Cowboy studio today. Some fun and exciting. Everybody's fun and exciting to me. People feel like I say that all the time, but life is fun. Life is exciting. You guys do some pretty cool stuff to help some. I've got in the studio Brandon and Julie Edstrom. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you've been in the community for a long time. I've seen your eyes. I might have met your husband before.
Yeah.
But you guys do. Tell everybody what you do. You've got a great looking website we're going to talk a little bit about here, but I like to hear the positive stories about people and what they do in our community to really make a difference and impact everybody that's going to hopefully see this video.
So we own a company called Integrity First Investments. And our overall objective is to be able to help as many people as we possibly can that are going through a financial crunch.
That's happening a little bit.
It's happening a lot
these days. It seems like forever. I mean, it's like the economy's good, the economy's bad. There's always people
right.
who need your help.
Absolutely. And so what we do is we strive to find the individuals that need our assistance and guide them through potential loss of a home. So there's people out there that are losing their jobs, they lose a loved one, they're going through a divorce, or even through some horrible health issues. And we work with those individuals and do everything we can to guide them in the right direction, whether it's we buy the home from them, we help them through a Chapter 13, whatever the case may be, that allows them to make the best decision for their family.
So Brandon, tell us a little bit about what's your role here. I mean, you guys are a team. You guys work together.
Yeah, pretty
Julie
much.
Gave us her perspective there.
Pretty much, we go to the individual's home, talk with them, make them feel comfortable, assess the value, what needs, work that needs to be done, and just to get a feel for what their situation is, what is what's causing them to be what happened to them to get them in the position that they're in, and help them, give them options. Let them don't make them feel like they're all by themselves and they don't have any options.
So, in doing so, you're literally helping families that are in a situation where they might lose their biggest asset, right?
Absolutely.
They've got a lot of equity in something potentially, but they can't get out of whatever loan or mortgage that they're in, and they're looking for what. And a lot of people don't know what to do. How many people actually lose the house in that situation? Does that happen so often? Still?
Here's the sad case: on a consistent basis, there can be anywhere from 3 to 15 new filed pre-foreclosures every single day of the week. And that's just St. Charles County, St. Louis City, and St. Louis County. That doesn't include all the other counties. So we reach out to these families and we let them know that they're not alone. My husband and I, we've personally been through a foreclosure.
So you have actually had a situation where you had to do the whole thing.
Yes, we've been through all.
You know
of it.
exactly what the emotions
I know exactly what they're
the
going
emotions
through.
that are involved there, everything that goes on
Yep.
in somebody's situation where
And that's why we feel like we are the best ones to assist in this situation. I have a heart condition. A few years back, I went through a heart procedure. We lost our business, we lost our home, we lost everything. Most people don't know what that's like. You have others say, you know what, I want to help you through this, but when they haven't been through it themselves, they really don't know what's going on in the mind of that homeowner.
And so, from a very personal level, you understand all. Because I can imagine that when somebody's actually going through a situation like this, versus we all go to school, we get educated, we go to special trainings we have to go through. I've done a lot of that. I've never had anything as good as a teacher as real life. And it's hard for me to imagine. I'm thinking about what would it be like for someone to go actually through that situation. What are the biggest tips that you would say you've learned that really make a difference for people to understand why you can make this thing right the best way, from your personal experience? And Brandon, tell us your perspective on that too.
Well, for us, we didn't have anybody that could assist us or help us through the situation that we were in. We had to just kind of find out the hard way, and that's pretty much what we've done most of our lives is just learn things the hard way, which is a good way to learn because you learn the best, but you don't want to learn that way if you can help it. If you can have somebody that can help you get out of that situation in the best way that you can, not have to find out the hardest way and lose so much, that would be obviously what you'd want.
Sure. Okay, so tell us, Brandon and Julie, we've got your name on the screen there. Everybody take note there. These are your experts, Integrity First Investments. And let's talk about the website a little bit here also. But so somebody's got a distressed situation. how do they know they're in a distressed situation first? So help people understand that.
Okay, and that's a big factor in this. We would love to be able to work with these individuals before they hit the point of pre-foreclosure. It would give us more time and more options. So if you're with that individual, you've lost a job, you're doing everything you can't find a new one, and you're already starting to struggle to find how you're going to make that next mortgage payment, that's the time you want to reach out to us. We can still help once it's in pre-foreclosure, but it's much easier and there's more options if you're able to just give us a call. Allow us to talk to you about the situation, and we can go from there. Most people don't realize that it only takes a couple of missed mortgage payments, and that lender can start the foreclosure process.
I didn't realize that. I thought at this point they'd gotten to where they strung this thing out to 6 months before they really started.
Depends on the lender.
Depends on the lender,
It
how
depends
aggressively
on
they
the-
want that property.
That's
Could it
exactly
come down
right.
to the property?
It
The
absolutely
value they
can.
see, they say, that property's got more equity in it.
That's
we're going,
exactly right.
we're
If
going
you've
after
got if you've got a bunch of equity in your house,
Interesting.
the lender sees that and goes, "Ooh, we want that house. Well, let's start the pre-foreclosure now. It's worth the money to go through pre-foreclosure. We're going to get all that equity."
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that makes sense. We're in a capitalist system, and,
That's the way it
and
goes.
so you've got to be prepared for that. Good information to know what's going on, so you're dealing with something like
Yeah.
that. Brandon, walk me through this. After the foreclosure, somebody gets a clue that they're in a situation. You know, they probably knew this for months, right? But they don't respond to it quickly enough, and they're starting to figure out, what should I do now? I've got a problem here. What's the next step?
Well, I mean, we would just talk to them on the phone at first, just to get an idea of their situation. And unfortunately, a lot of times for people, once they've gotten to this point, they think they owe X amount of money, but they end up owing more than that because of all the fees and the penalties and the lawyer attorney fees and all these things that they attach. These lenders will attach to their
Wow.
their principal balance. So they end up being in a worse spot than they think they are, and so we just want to take a look at the value of the property and see what we can do to get them out of their situation. So,
Well, it sounds like you're doing a lot to literally save families, because a lot of people don't realize. I mean, many people are familiar with the word equity, right?
Yes.
I have equity. What does that really mean? And that is essentially, like, I've owned a couple houses in my life, and you hope that you've made enough investment into it, or the market went up enough that when it comes time to sell, there's a profit to be made there, right? That's
Right.
essentially what the equity is, right?
Correct.
And for many people, they don't realize how much they have, I guess.
Correct.
And is that the situation? You find that people are behind on their payments, don't realize they've got $40,000 in equity
Correct.
that they're going to lose, and they just go, I throw my hands up, I give up.
It happens a lot, in fact, and it's really sad for us to see that, because if they act sooner, they can actually use that equity to refinance. They could use the equity. They can even do loss mitigation. There's so many options that people don't know exist, and the lender's certainly not going to give you a call and say, "Hey, we have options. We want to save your house." It doesn't work that way. The lender would rather take the house. So they get to this point where the options that would have been available take a certain number of weeks or months to follow through with. They don't let the public know that a property's in pre-foreclosure until 21 days out from that foreclosure. 21 days is not much.
And
to
help
accomplish
everybody
anything.
I have an idea. I have an idea as to why that is. But what's the real reason? I mean, that's the law, obviously. I would say 21 days. That sounds like a legal number they came up with.
Somehow.
Why is that number the number that it is?
Honestly, the objective for the lenders is to do everything they can to obtain the property, okay? And so if, with 21 days, the lender knows there's very little to nothing that can be done for them to save the property at that point. They know they're gonna obtain that property. Then you have individuals like us. Our objective is to jump in there. If we pay for that property, pay cash for that property and close before the auction, lender can't do anything about it.
Well, and in that case, you are probably saving. What's the least you've helped a family save?
Well,
Probably just get them out of a
just get them
situation
out of the
where,
situation.
where
Yeah.
they were going to lose even more money and be in debt and be
Well,
behind.
yeah, because we don't want to give people the wrong impression either. There's going to be situations where somebody owes so much on a home that the best we can do is pay off just the mortgage, and they're not able to walk away with anything because there's not enough equity.
Right.
Okay, because we want to help as many people as we can, but at the same time, we can't have it cost us money to do it either.
Sure.
So that's the worst case scenario. But in that case, there's no there's no foreclosure on their credit. Their
Right.
credit score doesn't plummet.
So
and
tell us
they
the
don't have-
benefits. So this is
Right. Now, this is the best part. So we've been through this, as we told you. So we've got the Chapter 13 on our bankruptcy and our credit history. We have the loss of a home, the foreclosure on our credit history. So once that happens to them, if we're not able to save it because they don't reach out in time, They have all those things on their credit, and when they go to just simply rent an apartment, they're not going to rent it to them because of the credit and because they see that foreclosure. Now you've got a family that has no place to go.
Brandon, is this kind of
Oh yeah.
this is a situation, but is it obviously makes you guys feel good
Yeah.
about
and,
here's how you get to really,
issues
because
you
you're not
have-
talking about a few $150. You're talking sometimes tens and thousands of dollars
yeah.
because they're going in the hole while that house sits there and the heating bills are coming all around. Still, they have to. Tell me more about that.
Well, I
Where
mean,
this,
the especially the credit is the biggest issue because if you have a foreclosure or a bankruptcy on your credit, then you're going to have to pay deposits anywhere you want to go. You're looking at higher interest rates anytime you want to finance anything at all, car or anything, and especially a home. You're just looking at a lot harder to get into a home if you can at all. So you're just looking at all types of additional money and issues and problems that you're going to run into down the road if you can't get out of the situation by. And then the other issue, when they say they only give you like 21 days to give you notice. Well, the reason for that is any traditional person that you would sell your home to, if you could, it'll take them longer than that to purchase the home. You have to find somebody that actually has cash to buy the home from you, or else you won't be able to sell it in time. And that's why they want to limit your time because of that reason.
right? Yeah, it's they go with it, whatever the legal limits that they've agreed that are fair, right?
Right.
And
Right.
make it. At least, I mean, other countries it could be a lot worse. The government just comes in and takes things, right? So,
Right.
but here there's a system. You got to know how the system works. You got to play according to the rules in the system. And when you do, and you've got somebody that can really help you, it can be the difference of hundreds credit,
Everything.
hundreds, tens, or even tens of thousands of dollars that now are not being taken from you that you should have had in
But
your
they
pocket.
also have to think about what it does to their families. We have two daughters, two amazing daughters.
Right.
They're 10 and 12 years old. They were raised in our home. We lost that home, and they didn't understand. They didn't understand why they were losing their house. And at the time, they were 7 and 9 years old. So there was no explaining to them why mommy and daddy lost the house. We couldn't explain it. They didn't understand. And at that point, we couldn't even find a place to go because of the reasons my husband just described. Nobody would rent us an apartment. We had a hard time getting anybody to give us permission to get a house. We finally found a home for rent, and we had to type up a personal letter explaining our situation, give it to the owner, and hope and pray that he would say, you know what, I'll take a chance on you, even though you just lost your house and everything else. It was rough. It was embarrassing, and
Yeah, life. Many people know the story of a little bit about what the Cardinal Cowboy thing is all about and how I survived a coma and how to deal with stress and how the most important part of life is just being happy. Right. I know a lot of people have a ton of money, but I can tell you they don't seem very happy. I know a lot of people that don't have much money, but they're really happy. And the stress that's added by that, it doesn't matter so much that there's millions of dollars in the bank or a potential huge, but it's the stress that's put on your life every day. I mean, I've had a time or two where the payment was a little late between jobs and whatever was going on. Talk about a stressful event was when InBev laid everybody off and I got laid off. And then what's going to happen? And I was pretty confident in things. But there's times I'm like, ooh, I got to make the mortgage payment. That's stressful. Imagine going through all the rest of it. I can only imagine. And that's something you guys have personal experience. Well, good stuff there. Let's talk a little bit about how you really help people and some more information where they can get a hold of you through your website. Here it is.
So it's putintegrityfirst with a 1st.com. Okay, and on here we talk about the different forms of distressed properties. We have emotional distress, physical distress, and financial distress. And they all can kind of go hand in hand. So you're going to hear the people that say, you know what, I'm having another child. I really need a bigger home, but I can't afford to fix up the one I'm in order to sell it. So we'll help those individuals as well, because that's a very common thing. You hear people say that all the time. We help the individuals that are struggling with the foreclosures, or they think they're on that road to foreclosure. A lot of people, they lose jobs, they get laid off, they're going through a life change like a divorce, or they lose their spouse. They pass away from an unfortunate event that they weren't planning for at a very young age. And now they're saddled with the home, the responsibilities, and the kids, and all they want to do is find a way to survive. There's so many ways around it. They just need to reach out for assistance. There's nothing wrong with it, and that's why we're here.
Well, I talked to you a little bit about what's probably the most important piece. If you had one area on your website to focus on, and we'll pull that page up here real quickly.
Honestly, the financial distress talks about it here, but we put our story on here. We have no problem telling people who we are and what we've been through. Because
Can we show people the story on here?
absolutely.
All right, let's click on it.
So we put our story on here. We talked about what we've been through as a family and how we've overcome it, and more importantly, that if we can do it, so can everybody else. It's just there we are. So we talk about, we've been through a chapter 7, a chapter 13. I've got health issues. I have a heart problem, and we owned a gym at one time, and owning that gym, being able to do personal training and everything with a heart condition became impossible, and my husband couldn't do it for me. So we lost our clients, we lost the studio, and therefore lost the home and everything else. So we want people to understand that we're different than most. We truly know what they're going through, and we've made it our responsibility, or our mission, I should say, to help as many people as we can not go through what we've been through. There was nobody there to help us.
Wow. So tell me some success stories. I know you've helped a lot of people. Give me a couple without naming names. I know people don't want their financial information out there.
Okay.
But just, this one family, the Jones family,
I
they were in this situation, and tell me what happened. I know you've really done some cool stuff.
Yeah. So we just helped a gentleman. His wife left him for another man.
Okay.
And he's going through divorce. It was sudden. He wasn't expecting it. It was the day before their anniversary. Now he finds out that she hadn't been paying the mortgage payments. He didn't know they weren't getting paid. Next thing he knows, he gets served with papers at the house that he's going to lose the house too. All in a matter of 2 months. He loses his wife, loses his house, doesn't have any idea what to do, nowhere to go, and nobody's going to give him a place to live.
Wow.
We met with the individual, and we talked him through the different options that were out there. We were able to purchase his house from him and allow him to walk away from that house with some money in his pocket so that he could pay that extra down payment required by an apartment because of his history. Now, in this case, this individual was so thankful and so appreciative that he still keeps in contact with us, and we check on him to see how things are going and how he's doing. But there's all kinds of circumstances, and none of them are anything to be embarrassed by. It's called life.
Sure.
So
sometimes life rolls you the snake eyes, and other times you get the 7 or the 11. Is that the old?
That is. That is. Yeah.
Parents made me do computer programming, so I wrote craps. I could figure out how to make random character 6, random 1 through 6 on 2. And that was the last time I touched a computer until many years later. Don't ever make your kids go to computer class. It did work out. It's what I do now. But literally, there's an impact you're having. How many families do you think you've affected so far in your whole? How long have you been doing this now? And what would you say? Because it's not just the family you're immediately impacting; it's their aunts and uncles, and then the friends that were related to them, and the business that they're working for, and where they have to go to drive to work, and all of that gets involved. I mean,
well, we've been doing this for a while, but we truly started focusing on the financial distress and the pre-foreclosures just last August, and in that short time, we've been able to help 63 families, something like that.
Wow. Okay. So you've got a background with this and a lot of going on, and
yes,
made this kind of a focus.
We made this our
and
focus.
63 families that have already come through. So you've got this nailed down pretty well.
We do.
Brandon, is this what you love doing? I mean, is this...
yeah, it's enjoyable. I mean, there's all kinds of. I mean, everything's different, so it's always a challenge to try to figure out. Everybody's got a different situation. Everybody's got different issues and everything that they're trying to go through and work out. So, I mean, it's always a challenge. It's always trying to come up with what options we could provide them or have ability to help them with or whatever. It's always a challenge. I always enjoy it.
Well, it is great work that you do, and I'm familiar with, like I said, a little bit from the perspective of just dealing with clients and mortgage people and real estate agents and this is an area that affects people in a dramatic way. It's impactful to get your teeth cleaned and to have a lawyer do all your stuff, but when you're losing your home, I mean, that's something that has immediate. I'm not trying to diminish all you dentists out there, you guys, because all of these things are important, but this is something that really does make an impact for the everyday mental stability of a family and where they go.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming to the studio. I'm looking on your website here. Let's give them the phone number. There we go. Is that the
Yep,
best number?
It is.
All right. I'll read it to everybody. 636-229-1427. I'll say it one more time for everybody. 636-229-1427. And, you know, you guys, I'm just impressed. The website looks great. Lots of cool stuff you got going on there. Good information. You guys, your heart's in the right place. That's what I love to see about people and the people that are making an impact in this community. Are you Cardinal fans?
Absolutely.
course.
How could
Okay.
you not be?
How could
Definitely.
you not? We talk about that. It's a good business decision to be a
I mean,
Cardinal fan
right?
in St. Louis, right? You get to meet a lot of people and enjoy life with
Yep.
a lot of success for the Cardinals also enjoy.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And that's part of it. Well, thank you again. The website, one last time, putintegrity1st.com. Put integrity first, but it's the 1st.com. Come and check out Julie and Brandon's website, business. Let them help you and refer them somebody. Talk to somebody. Everybody knows someone out there who is in a situation where they literally have a distressed thing going on like this, and they're afraid to ask about it, right? They're afraid to talk about it. It becomes, but think about what you're not doing by not sharing their information with those people, because they're losing money every day that they've got to pay that heating bill still, but nobody's in the building. They've got other outstanding things that are deteriorating. Property values are going down because you're not getting this situation resolved, which is going to make their life a lot easier. So share their information.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank
All
you.
right, everybody. Cardinal Cowboy Show. We appreciate you guys again. Thanks again. We'll take it out with a little bit of our music and have some fun with this video as we send this out to the world to make a difference. All right, everybody.
Sounds good.
Thank you.